Never compare yourself to anyone in life. It's a common mistake many people make, one that can take away their happiness. There's a story I'd like to share about two friends, Arion and Lira, that illustrates this beautifully. Here's how it goes. Once upon a time, in a village nestled between two towering mountains, there lived two childhood friends, Lira and Arion. They had grown up side by side, playing in the meadows and chasing the same dreams under the same sky. As children, they were inseparable, each one feeding off the other's curiosity and sense of adventure. They would sit by the river talking about the world beyond the mountains, eager to explore all the unknown wonders they had only heard about in stories. As they grew older, their dreams shifted from imagination to ambition, and the day finally came when they would embark on their journeys beyond the village. The villagers often spoke of two roads that led out of the valley, each heading in different directions, circling the mountains, and eventually meeting again on the other sides. These two paths represented not just physical roads, but the choices and challenges of life itself. Arion and Lira, though close in heart, felt drawn to different roads, and so they parted ways, promising to meet again when their paths crossed once more. Arion chose the road that led around the right side of the mountain. This path was well-traveled, bustling with people and filled with towns, cities, and markets. From the very first step, Arion was surrounded by the clamor of society, the wealth of merchants, the brilliance of artisans, and the wisdom of scholars. Everywhere he looked, there were people who had achieved great things, and at first this inspired him. He wanted to be like them, to earn riches and respect, to be known for his skills and successes. But as he walked this road, something began to shift in Arion. He would see travelers who had gone farther than him, who had acquired more wealth or prestige, and slowly he started to measure his own worth against theirs. With every step he took, he couldn't help but compare himself to those around him. When a merchant passed by with a cart full of fine goods, Arion thought, "Why haven't I accumulated such treasures?" When he encountered a famous scholar, he would wonder, "Why haven't I gained such wisdom or renown?" The more he compared himself to others, the heavier his journey became. The joy and excitement he once felt about exploring the world were replaced with a constant nagging sense of inadequacy. No matter how far he traveled or how much he accomplished, it never seemed to be enough. Meanwhile, Lira had chosen the road that circled around the left side of the mountain. This path was quieter, less traveled, and wound through forests, rivers, and wide open fields. Lira's journey was more solitary, but she found peace in the stillness. She spent her days observing the beauty of nature, the way the light filtered through the trees, the rhythm of the river's flow, and the songs of birds that accompanied her steps. Her road wasn't filled with the noise of society, but with the wisdom of the earth. She met travelers here and there, each one offering a different perspective, and she learned from the simple but profound lessons they shared. Lira, too, had moments of wondering about Arion and his road. She had heard stories of the bustling cities, the wealth and the achievements of the travelers on his path. Sometimes she would wonder if she had chosen the wrong road, if perhaps she was missing out on the success and recognition that Arion must be experiencing. But each time doubt crept into her mind, she reminded herself that her journey was hers alone. She trusted that the quiet beauty and lessons of her road were meant for her, and slowly she found peace in walking at her own pace, without the need to compare herself to anyone else. Years passed, and both friends made their way across the mountains, each with a collection of experiences, lessons, and memories. They had grown and changed, shaped by the roads they had chosen. One bright morning, the two roads finally converged, just as the villagers had said. Lira and Arion met again at the foot of the mountain, beneath a vast sky. Their reunion was filled with joy, and they embraced as though no time had passed at all. But as they sat together talking about their journeys, a difference began to emerge. Arion, though happy to see his friend, was weary. His heart felt heavy, and his mind was clouded with self-doubt. He looked at Lira, who seemed calm and content, and said, "You must have had an easier road than I did. You look so at peace, while I feel so burdened." Lira tilted her head, surprised by Arion's words. "It wasn't easy," she said gently. "There were moments of doubt, times when I wondered if I had chosen the right path, but I realized that my journey was my own, and I couldn't compare it to anyone else's. Arion sighed. I wish I had learned that sooner. I spent so much time looking at the travelers around me, comparing myself to them. No matter how far I went, it never felt like enough because someone always seemed to be ahead of me, doing more or achieving more. It was exhausting, and now I feel like I missed something important. Lira smiled and placed a hand on his shoulder. We all have our own roads to walk. Your journey wasn't meant to be mine, and mine wasn't meant to be yours. The mistake isn't in the road you chose. It's in comparing your road to others. Every step we take is part of a lesson, part of the growth we need. The beauty is in walking your own path, not in measuring it against someone else's. Arion sat quietly, reflecting on her words. For the first time in years, he felt a sense of release, as though a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. He realized how much time he had wasted focusing on the achievements of others, rather than appreciating his own progress. His road had been filled with challenges, but he had learned, grown, and achieved so much. The comparison had blinded him to the richness of his own experience. He realized that life wasn't a race, and the value of his journey wasn't in matching someone else's pace, but in walking his own path with purpose. With a heart now free from the weight of comparison, he embraced the idea that fulfillment comes not from striving to be like others, but from becoming the best version of oneself. I see it now, Arion said, his voice steady and clear. The beauty of our paths isn't in their similarity to others, but in their uniqueness. From this moment on, I will walk my road with gratitude, appreciating the lessons meant for me alone. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold, Arion felt a sense of peace he had never known before. He and Lira continued their travels, but now Arion walked with lightness in his step and clarity in his heart. He no longer sought validation from the world around him, but found it within, in the quiet progress of his own journey. Lira, ever serene, smiled as they journeyed onward. She knew that Arion's realization was the key to a more enlightened way of living, one that honored the individuality of each person's path. And together they both trusted in the wisdom of their roads, knowing that true contentment comes from within, not from the lives of others. The tale of Lira and Arion reminds us of a simple but profound truth. Each of us is walking our own unique path, filled with challenges and lessons meant just for us. Comparing ourselves to others blinds us to the beauty and progress of our own journey. In a world where we are constantly bombarded with images of other people's successes and lives, it's easy to feel like we're not doing enough. But the truth is, your journey is yours alone, and the value in it comes from your own growth, not from how it measures up to someone else's. The next time you find yourself comparing your life to someone else's, remember Lira and Arion. Trust in your own path, and know that your journey holds its own wisdom and worth. Embrace each step with gratitude, and you'll find that the peace and fulfillment you seek have been with you all along, waiting to be recognized.